Amazon Japan order. 8 days. So Amazon Japan order went way faster than Amazon Germany. And you can see the box is a little bit beat up this time. Usually these shipments from Japan have been pristine, but this one is a little bit beat up. Okay, lots of Japanese air for free. Alright, so let's get all this. So this thing, what this is, it's just a little shield, you know, when you use compressed air and you're shooting into a hole or you know, like you're cleaning out like a hydraulic connector. You're trying to clean the dirt out of it and everything comes back at you. So this is a little shield to put on the spray nozzle. So this is a SK11 made in Taiwan. Okay, so this item is the 125 millimeter insulated VDE Prostyle extension. No, it doesn't say where it's made. So yes, it works as an additional extension. So it's VDE and GS. Okay, does it interoperate with the Vera Cyclop 8007 3/8? Yes, it does. And then do the sockets fit on there? Yep. So it's completely locked end to end. So it interoperates just fine. You know, it makes sense because it's basically the same size as this one. The insulation doesn't seem to be as good as the Vera. And I got one more of these pry bars for Allen keys. All right, let's take a closer look at this Takagi extension set. This one is made in Taiwan. Compared to the Weiss brand that is made in Japan, that's this one that I reviewed in a previous tool haul. The quality on this Takagi is much lower than on the Weiss. The Weiss is much higher quality. The tolerances, the thickness of the metal, just the overall build quality of the Weiss is better than this Takagi. You can look and see how thin this Takagi is. I mean, thin, and the thing is that how come it seems like it's thinner on this side, thicker on that side? I don't know, it just doesn't impress me. This purchase I would not have made again. In one of my previous Amazon Japan unboxings, I had a seki or a kai knife, and I decided to get another one. My wife liked the last one. This one is a little bit higher up on the scale than the last one. This one is made in Japan. It is Seki Magoroku Kai kitchen knife. Just a quick note while editing here. This has become my wife's favorite knife. Okay, and then I got this Anex 100mm extension so that I can just chuck this into a drill. And then I've got something that's got an Asian end on it. So that if I really need to have that locked in, now I got something to lock that in there. So that's really all I got this for, was kind of a bit holder to put in a chuck. Millimeter offset. This is Western, and this is Asian. It's 13mm. So that's kind of a bummer, but you can still chuck it up in a drill. You know, of course you wouldn't use a drill to do this. That's what I use the PB Swiss for. It's this kind of thing. And then I had been using the PB Swiss for these outdoor outlet receptacle box plugs. But you can see that even though it works well, it doesn't work as good as this. This one is going to be better for that. So, and of course, you know, you can just put that in a bit holder. And everybody knows this is my favorite bit holder, the Hot Set. And then you've got, because I actually recently did have to remove one of these plugs from an outdoor receptacle box. And I did not have this. It would have been a lot easier. I used this instead. Went okay, did fine. But that's what inspired me to get this. And it had been something I had my eye on for a while. And then these are the cheapest. I don't know why these are so expensive. So a lot of times when I leave the garage, I want to take the T20 and the T15 with me as well. And I gotta, you know, put these in a pocket and all this stuff. And I thought, well, maybe if I had a way to just put these on a carabiner. You know, I have the carabiner. I don't need to buy that from them. And then I have this on my belt. And then you take these off. Okay. And you can see that these will work for both the American anvil size and the Asian anvil size. You can carry these around. So that's what those are all about. You know, so the 3.Peaks, okay, they don't show lifting out staples, but I saw a picture depicting staple removal with this end. I don't remember where I saw that picture. It might have been on Amazon, I'm not sure. Just checking to make sure, is this made in Japan? They have Japan stamped on it. They have the Japanese Industrial Standard logo stamped on it, but it doesn't actually say that it's made in Japan. Whereas the Tsunoda says made in Japan. I prefer the handle on the 3.Peaks. That's one of the reasons I got it, was I liked the handle. I didn't have anything by 3.Peaks. This is my first 3.Peaks item. And I really like these form factor on these nippers. They're handy. I like them. And so I thought, hey, I'm going to get another one. I'm going to try 3.Peaks. The handle looks nicer. My impressions are better of the Tsunoda. Just my impressions. I like the longer end on here. All right, so let's compare these two with the task of staple removal. And of course, this is a hard surface. So if you can't get under the staple, and the end on this is a little bit blunt. It isn't quite sharp enough to chisel into the wood. The staple has to be a little bit proud of the surface. And then yes, here I did another small staple here. That staple might be hard to get out of there. Okay, it wants to slip out. And then I did some of these larger staples, of course. Those it's going to get out. All right. So let's try the Tsunoda. It's a little bit longer. Doesn't seem like the tip is any sharper. Maybe just a little bit. Okay. Okay, so what about this staple? Here's a double. Okay, let's try this one. It seems like I can get under there better with this one. Well, the Tsunoda definitely worked better on that staple. And it could be because the angle. You see the difference in the angle? I wish that these handles were on this pliers. I mean, these handles are very basic, nothing special. These handles are much, much nicer. They feel much nicer. They're not rock hard. There's a nice softness to those handles. Let's take a closer look at the OLFA circle cutter. Looking for the Made in Japan stamp. So this is Made in Japan. And the plastic is a good, high quality plastic. It doesn't feel too cheap, for plastic. I mean, if this was all anodized aluminum, of course, it would feel much higher quality. But for plastic, it feels good quality. We got a cover here. And then we've got this cap up and over this to get that blade out. So the big challenge with circle cutters is that it has to keep that blade at a perfect tangent to the circle without kind of steering in or out on the radius, steering a tighter radius or steering a wider radius. It has to perfectly follow that radius, or they just don't work well. Interesting that they put a ratchet on this so that you only go one way. Maybe so you don't use the blade incorrectly. I'm not sure. That's kind of interesting. All right, so we're not going to go that large. We'll cut something like about that big. The blade is following the radius very well. So there's the edge on that. Okay, let's talk about these vessel bits. So this tip is a hybrid tip, cross type and flat. And they call this a terminal block tip, but it has uses for a lot of things beyond electrical terminal blocks. Cabinetry is one of the uses, and I've highlighted that in another video where I talk about hybrid bits, like the Wiha Xeno. So I'm trying to find like a 0. I can't seem to find a 0. Number 1 I can find, but I can't find anything really small because I run into situations plenty often where it'd be nice to have a size 0. These are not hybrid bits. I just bought these because I was intrigued by these new vessel insulated bits. I think they're new. I hadn't run across them before. Of course, the search terms I was using were different. And then this size 2 is insulated, and of course that's not going to work in this small terminal block either. Now this is a number 1. These bits just, I bought these, I gotta admit, I just bought these out of just sheer curiosity and intrigue. So these don't say that they're German VDE certified, but they are made in Japan. So it's 1000 volt protection, but I mean, how much strength can they be getting out of this plastic? I don't know. I mean, a terminal block, you're not really going to be cranking on it that hard. This one does work in this terminal block. And then I got, well, this is the size 3 of the vessel. And then I got the size 1 and 2 of these Anex insulated non-conductive bits. And these have the Western anvil and the Asian anvil. Vessel doesn't do that as often, but there are Vessel products that do have both anvils. Let's take a closer look at these blades. So these blades were kind of a letdown. They're just made in Switzerland. No, they're good blades. They're made in Switzerland. They don't have the Japanese pole saw carpentry style cut to the teeth. The teeth on these blades that are made in Switzerland, marketed with the Zet-Saw, this Z brand. The teeth are bent to the side, bent left and right on these, made in Switzerland. And the only reason they're a disappointment is because I have other blades that are made in Switzerland, and these aren't really anything different than what I already had. But these other blades that I got are different. I haven't really seen anything like these. The closest thing to this concept is from Spider. Now these are kind of interesting. They are marketing these as a tight radius, kind of a scroll cut. By the way, these are made in Japan. So the teeth on the bottom are bent left and right. The teeth on the top are not. And they don't really have a sharp point for plunging on this. They have a different blade that is made with a sharp point for plunging into sheetrock. Okay, and then they've got the side is flush on this top set of teeth. They are cut with that Japanese pole saw style cut. The teeth on the bottom also are cut with that Japanese pole saw style cut, but they're also bent side to side to widen the kerf out beyond the thickness of the blade. I don't recommend buying these little ones because you're probably going to run into what I ran into, and that's that they're too short. I mean, it's just these blades are too short. They're too short to be useful at all for anything. So those were not a good purchase. This one sheetrock style plunge blade, I don't know if I'll ever use it on sheetrock. You know, how do you beat a roto zip? You know, but again, I saw them. Interesting, you know, interesting concept. Just, I don't know, in American tools, there's no market really. There's no purpose. I like Zet-Saw. I like their products. I think they do a good job. I was kind of surprised to see this made in Switzerland, rebranding, remarketing kind of a thing from them. But I suppose they're probably just trying to round out their product line. And that is a closer look at all of the items in the Amazon Japan Tool Haul Summer 2020. I'll also say this. It doesn't seem like the pandemic has affected the Japanese purchasing of things on Amazon Japan the way that it seemed to have affected buying from Amazon Germany. If you look at my Amazon Germany tool haul, I explain what I ran into in that situation. I have noticed that on Amazon Germany, there are products now that will ship to the USA that just a couple of weeks ago would not. So there are some things starting to go through the Amazon Germany system now that are improving. So that's my Amazon Japan Tool Haul Summer 2020. Thank you for watching.